First, another member of the Whitmer administration is found to have traveled outside the state, and this time it's the governor herself. The governor's office is responding to the report that Governor Whitmer traveled to Florida about a month ago to see her ill father.
Follows revelations that two other aides left the state on spring break vacations. Jason Colthorpe live with that story and the reaction from both sides. The Republicans were pretty quick to jump on this tonight, Jason.
Oh, and a lot of them, yes, we'll get to that, Devin. The first thing the governor's office pointed out to me and wanted to stress tonight, this was not a spring break trip or a vacation, but again, it allows her opponents, for the second time in a week, mind you, to point to hypocrisy and a lack of transparency among her and her administration. In addition to traveling to Joe Biden's inauguration and to visit Michigan National Guard troops, Governor Whitmer made one other out-of-state trip in the last 6 months. It was in March to visit her father. Mirrors, which broke the story, reports it was a personal trip to his home in Florida. Here's what Governor Whitmer said yesterday on Meet the Press about the dangers of traveling in general.
Michigan and Florida are not next to each other, but this is the time of the year that snowbirds come home from Florida, where people are going on spring break, and all of these things can contribute to spread. And that's why we're imploring people to take this seriously, mask up, get tested.
I guess what this shows is I don't think Governor Whitmer and her staff understand what a lot of us are going through here in Michigan.
Republican State Rep Matt Hall is among the many GOPers saying this trip sends the wrong message.
Don't mislead people if that's not needed, because, you know, people are making real serious decisions with their families and their loved ones based on what their government leaders are telling them. And so we should act in the same way that we tell them to act.
The governor's press secretary told me tonight the trip was to assist her elderly father who's battling a chronic illness. All three of her out-of-state trips were brief, 2 days or less, and were made when Michigan's daily positivity rate was in the low single digits. And this is not the last we're going to hear from Republicans on this. A press conference is already scheduled for tomorrow morning at 11:30 a.m. That's with the Michigan Republican Party, and they are going to talk about this trip specifically. Back to you.
Well, any word on who paid for the trip tonight, Jason?
Yeah, Devin, I talked to another source in the governor's office, and they say that the governor paid for this personally out of her own money. They also wanted to add that the governor's father is fully vaccinated and the governor has never tested positive. But I also asked the question, why didn't the governor just say this to people and offer it up, especially last week when she was answering questions about her other two members of her administration having traveled themselves? Yeah. I got no answer to that question. Instead, they're dealing with another situation where they've got to backtrack and answer questions.
All right, Jason.